Through the Looking Glass. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I am Martha Alexander, and this is Through the Looking Glass with Martha. Every Thursday at 6 p.m., tune in. Tonight, we are going to talk about fear. So, fear is a normal thing. And is it holding you back? Are there things in your life that you're holding back on based upon fear and you're not aware that it's fear? So that's what I want to do. I want to bring awareness about where your fear is. So let's talk a little bit about where fear comes from. Comes from the amygdala of your brain, which I don't know which side it's on, and it's hard when I'm opposite mirror image to do that. It's the lizard part of your brain. It's where your instincts come from. It came from cavemen, right? And they had to run away from a saber-toothed tiger. It comes when danger is around. Those are the ones we know about. What about the ones we might not be so aware of? Well, fear is designed from your childhood to keep you safe. That's its sole job in your brain. It's supposed to keep you safe. Safe means staying in your comfort zone. And everyone's different as to what their comfort zone is, right? Is it in your PJs on the couch? Now I'm watching Downton Abbey. Love the show. I'm on my last season. So is it there? What is it? Is it speaking on the radio? So for me, my comfort zone now includes this show because I've done it a few times and I enjoy it and I have so much fun doing it. And other people may not have that same level of comfort with that. So how do you know when you're in fear? How do you know when fear is holding you back and keeping you safe? So visualize this for me. It's like for me, how I know fear is there is I avoid something, my stomach kind of hurts, I get a little anxious. And I know that's my sign. My heart beats maybe a little faster. My throat may close up a little bit, tighten. Fear is saying, this is something that may be risky. This may not be safe for us to do. Going on a live podcast. This may not be safe to do. People might not like us. People may not want to hear what we have to say. That's what fear does to keep us stuck. That's that voice in your head that says, not sure we're going to do that. I have learned to recognize fear most of the time, not all the time, because fear is a sneaky little devil. My fear, I visualize as a little curmudgeon. He's little, he's kind of rocky and prickly and dark and whatever, and he's a grouchy old man. And when I hear his voice, I pick him up and say, dude, no, I am safe. I got this. You need to sit on the shelf for a while. I don't need you right now. This is what I'm doing. I know. This is what I want to do. So let me give you how fear kind of works. Let me give you a little bit more. So if you were to look at a target, so a bullseye, another outer circle, kind of like the rings in a tree or a bullseye. The middle circle is your comfort zone. That's where fear wants to keep you, right here. And your comfort zone may be like this. It may be like this. It may be like this. It grows depending upon how often you step out of it. So doing a podcast, doing summit speaking, which I've been doing, would not have been something. I had some fear before I started it. I had some anxiety, why are you doing this? What is this going to accomplish for you? But I knew I wanted to do it. And pardon the beat, that is something that needs a battery that needs to go into my fire detector, smoke detector. So why would you do this is what fear says. So every time I do it, every time I step out, it grows, right? And then it grows, and then it grows. In the outer layer are things, I know I can do. I know that I can write a book. I have it partially done, and yet it's still sitting in the computer. Why? Why does it sit there? Aside from time issues, which this weekend is all about that, it sits there from fear, right? Who am I to write a book? And yet I do have something to say. So it's going to take me doing it, stepping out. I know I can do it. I just need to do it. I want to do it. So I have to prioritize it. I have to set fear aside and say, no, we're going to try this. I may fail, but I'm going to try it. Out of that zone where, you can do it. You're just avoiding it for whatever reason. Outside that is taking risks. So for me, a risk would be getting up on a TEDx stage. It's something that I really want to do, but it would terrify me right now. It is a goal, and yet it would terrify me right now. Actually, I took a risk today. A friend asked me to talk to her mastermind. And I was like, absolutely, I'll do that. And then I went, what the heck are you doing? And I had to say, it's okay. I got time. I've got it. It's Tuesday. It's 4 whole days away. I can do this. And yet now, even now, I can feel my stomach going, ooh, maybe, You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know what you're doing. Those are all doubts. Those are all fear telling me that it would prefer that I sit on the couch and watch Downton Abbey, because that is really safe. That is really safe. Failure. So if I do it, what's the worst that can happen if you do something that you're not sure you can do? It's an opportunity to grow. It's how you learn how to do something better or how to do something differently. It's an opportunity. So Thomas Edison didn't get the light bulb on the first shot, right? It was, I don't know, something like 10,000 times. Look it up. If you're watching me, give it in the chat. It was a long time. He had again and again, and he had a team of people, and they worked and they worked. They had so many failures. What if he'd given up on just that one thing? What if he'd said, you know what, never mind. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to hire people to help me with this. I'm not going to do this. Would we have the lights that we know now? Maybe not. Certainly not when we got them. I think Michael Jordan has a quote that's on my daughter's wall that how many times he's made a shot and missed. Practice and practice and practice. It is all about taking the opportunity to step out of your comfort zone. And that is where miracles happen. That is where stuff happens. I got that quote from Susan Kirby. It's outside your comfort zone that miracles happen, that you grow your confidence. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, your confidence, your comfort zone expands, and your confidence expands. and you grow. And fear doesn't really want you to do that, because growth is scary. Going from, I'm a recovering attorney, going from being a recovering attorney to a coach and really spearheading the mission that I have, which for those of you who don't know, it is all about education on how a bad divorce impacts adult children of divorce, or children of, now adult children of divorce. So if when you were a kid, your parents, anytime in your life actually, your parents have a bad divorce, you're impacted by that, and it impacts your kids, and you may not be aware of how it impacts. But the fear that is instilled is there in so many ways, in speaking out. So when I first talk about fear, when I first started speaking, and as a recovering attorney, I went into court, right? My kids are like, "What? You went to court?" Yeah, I went to court. First time I ever went into court, when I was 28, and I had to have been 25 or 26. I was terrified. And I do mean terrified. It was a nothing hearing. I was going for one of the partners in the firm. They frequently send associates for things. And it was just to hear the judge rule from the bench what he'd already decided. I didn't have to make an argument. I didn't have to say anything. The most I had to say was, my name is Martha, at that time Davis. My name is Martha Davis. I am attorney representing, I'm with whatever the law firm is, and I am here on behalf of plaintiff or respondent, plaintiff or defendant, whatever it was. And then all I had to do was shut up and listen. I was so terrified. I could say my name, so I'd practiced that little litany for a really long time. I mean, I get into a courtroom and my inclination is to go stand and state my appearance. That is what I want to do. And I practiced it, and I practiced it, and I practiced it. What I didn't realize was, when I got that out, the blood would be, my nerves and fear and everything would be, my blood would be pounding so hard in my ears, I couldn't hear a word the judge said. Oh my gosh. I couldn't hear the judge. That was my sole job. Go state my appearance, listen to the judge, write it down, and come back to the office. I couldn't do that. The fear was so real and so there. All I could hear was the pounding in my head. So afterwards, I don't remember if I went up to the clerk's desk and said, "Oh my gosh, this is what happened," or if I went back to the office and called to get the ruling. I was terrified. And it was 100% fear of speaking in public. Why did I have that fear? Where does that come from for me? Why is that my comfort zone didn't include speaking? Because I love doing it now. It's a natural gift. Why, as a kid, did that stop me? I can tell you. I'm 60, so I was raised in the 60s. And kids were to be seen, not heard, right? And if you think, my parents had a very acrimonious divorce. While the divorce itself wasn't acrimonious, the relationship after the divorce was very acrimonious. So what did that mean for me? And as I explore this, let me know if you resonate with this. So when my dad dissed my mom and my mom dissed my dad, I needed to be quiet. I came home from school one day and my dad told me that my mom had moved out. My mom and two of my brothers had moved out. At 7, right? There's not much I can say. What I learned and kind of what I internalized from all of that is that there was something wrong with each of my parents from the other parent's perspective. Well, I am 50% each of my parents. I all the time will tell you, oh, that's my mom. Oh, that's my dad. So when I went to visit my mom, my dad got custody of me. When I went to visit my mom, I was scared. I had natural fear that if she didn't love me, right? I mean, in some ways I knew she did. And in others, I had abandonment issues and some other issues going on. That's the childhood trauma. And I had fear that I had to be someone else for her to love me. I also had fear. So I changed. I would get rid of whatever part of me was my dad. And then when I went back, I had to get rid of whatever part of me was my mom that I had emphasized while I was there so she'd love me. And I also stayed silent. There's an implicit agreement that you stay silent about how that divorce is impacting me, how them talking about each other impact me. And frankly, I really thought I was over the whole thing in high school. I didn't care if they stayed divorced forever. I wanted them back together. And then I got over it and went, yeah, I love my stepmother. Let's move on. What I didn't realize is that 50 years later, I looked back and went, that set a process in my brain. That set a neural pathway. That set a place for fear to say, no, this is outside your comfort zone. This is not something you want to do. So fear is something that becomes more individual for us, and is something that once you become aware of it, once you can say, that's fear, you can then choose something else. So a couple of examples. You're newly single and you want to date, but it's been 25 years since you've been out there. What does it look like? You have some fear that you know, it's outside your comfort zone. Would be way outside my comfort zone. Should I get divorced? That would be way outside my comfort zone to date again. I wouldn't even know how to act. I wouldn't know. When your kids leave for college, right, and you have the empty nest, that's another time when, who am I? What am I going to be? Those are all opportunities to look at the situation and say, who do I want to be? Is fear going to get the best of me? What small steps can I take to do that? So we'll go into that after the break. We're going to go on break in about a minute. What small steps can I take to move past fear? For me, there's proactive behaviors that I take that help you. And so the cycle of fear, right? You feel fear, it makes you act a certain way. You have a knee-jerk reaction. I had horrible knee-jerk reaction. And then you have some feelings, some bad feelings about that and yourself. You feel the thing you don't want to feel. And then you have some self-destructive stuff. And then that puts you back in fear. That's a wheel of fear as written by Rhonda Britton in her book, Fearless Living. So when we come back from the break, we are going to talk about how you change that fear reaction. We're going to talk a little bit more about how fear shows up and then how you move past that fear so that it doesn't hold you back anymore, so that you can take charge of it. Again, I'm Martha Davis Alexander. I help adult children of divorce through coaching, and I would love to hear from you. My email address is marthadalexander@gmail.com. My website is throughthelookingglasswithmartha.com, and my phone number is 805-422-6865. We'll be back in just a minute, so come back because I'm going to tell you how to let go of fear. We'll be right back. And the music's great. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Martha Davis Alexander. The show is Through the Looking Glass with Martha, and we're talking about, is fear holding you back? Fear holds everybody back at some point if you're not aware of it. So we've talked about getting awareness of fear. And now we're going to talk about and how to recognize it and some instances that fear has come up. Now we're going to talk about how you get out of fear. How do you say fear out? So I told you that fear, I'm a very visual person. So I visualize fear as a little curmudgeon that sits on my shoulder. And he's old and curmudgeon-y and just whatever you think a curmudgeon looks like. And he sometimes sits on my shoulder. Sometimes he's little and in here. And I say to him, and it is a him. I don't know why. I say to him, dude, no, I got this. Thank you for keeping me safe. And you don't need to play this time. I'm going to sit you on the bench, or I'm going to put you on a shelf, or I'm going to put you in a box and keep you in the closet for a while because you're being too loud. And when I first started, I would have a journal with fear. I would journal my conversations out. And the point of it is, that kind of sounds silly, but it really did help me in something that I was really struggling with. The point is, when you become aware that you're not doing something because it's a risk or it's outside your comfort zone, or you might fail, or you might succeed, or someone might not like you, or whatever the reason is, that's fear giving you an excuse. Alibi came to mind to just not show up for yourself. That's fear saying, oh, you don't have to do that. No, that's too much for us. We can't do that. That's fear holding you back from your journey, from your life, from what you want. If you got an inkling to be interviewed on my radio show, and then you went, oh no, she would never let me, I don't have anything to say, right? Or on any radio show, that's fear. That's fear saying, no, she's not going to be interested, or whatever it's saying to you. How do you know unless you ask? How do you know? You don't give yourself a no. So fear tends to self-tell us, no, we're not going to do that. No, that's too scary. No. Don't tell yourself no. Somebody else tell you no. Don't stop yourself. You never know the answer until you ask the question. Don't let fear hold you back from asking that question. Failing again. Failing is a good thing. It's growth. It's an opportunity. I fail every day, and that's okay. I practice things every day. Sometimes I do a fabulous job at it. Sometimes I don't. And that's okay. I learn from the times that I don't and from the times that I do. It's about the journey. It's about walking forward. So walking forward, how do you break out of that fear cycle? First step, and it will be, everything I say will always come down to the first step, is awareness. Awareness of, and you get awareness by actually getting out of your head and getting into your body and seeing what your body is saying to you. Your body will tell you when you're in fear. Like I said, my stomach, my heart, my throat, your body will tell you where fear is. And other feelings, right? We feel all things, and we feel them viscerally to some extent, sometimes way more than others, sometimes barely. And getting into the habit of sitting in your body, being present with your body. I am a recovering lawyer, so being in my brain is way more comfortable place for me. So I get it. If this is causing a little bit of fear, it's causing me a little bit of tummy as well. Still, feeling what you feel, knowing what it looks like when fear is knocking, saying, excuse me, no, this is out of our comfort zone. I'm going to give you this feeling so that you don't do it. Learning what that looks like, what that feels like in your body. Being able to say, I'm feeling a funny feeling. What is that? What is that? Is it fear? And I guarantee you, if you tell me I don't know, my question to you and the question I ask you is, if you did know, what would it be? Sounds silly, but what's the first thing that pops in your mind? When you have that fear and that awareness of that fear, you can then start recognizing it. And when you recognize it, you can take steps to move out of fear. How powerful and empowering is it to be able to say, I can move out of fear? How empowering would it be in your life if you could step outside of fear and do something, even if it made you uncomfortable? The phrase that is really popping this week in my world, I keep hearing it, is getting uncomfortable, or getting comfortable. Here it is. Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Get used to being uncomfortable. Have being uncomfortable be your comfort zone, because that is where you grow. That is where you soar. That is where you do everything that you might want to do in your life. That's where, if you want to wave a magic wand and change your life, you do it. Is living outside your comfort zone, being uncomfortable. So how do you get there? Okay, fair question. Examples, and these are all in Rhonda Britton's book, Fearless Living. Examples, deep breathing, and that gets you in your body, right? So if you take 4 really deep breaths, counting to 10 as you breathe in, counting to 10, holding it for as long as you can, as you develop it. And when you breathe in, I want your stomach needs to come out. You can't hold your stomach in. Your stomach has to expand as far as it can. And then you breathe out. After you hold it, you breathe out slowly. And you really feel the air filling your body. And you do it 4 times, just like that. And you will feel grounded. You will feel different. I promise. Your energy will be completely different. One of my favorite things to do, and I do it frequently before a radio show, I put on one of my favorite songs and I dance around my room or do jumping jacks or sing my favorite song. Nobody needs to listen to that, but I do it for myself. The dogs don't mind. Everyone else scatters to the wind. So singing, dancing, standing in grass with your bare feet, which is evidently called earthing now. Those are awesome ways. I like to be out under a tree in my yard. It's my favorite tree, and I just love this tree. And I like to do that. Lighting a candle, taking a bath. Quick things are breathing, right? Because you can do that in a meeting. You can take a couple of really deep breaths, or you can pat yourself, or I wear crystals. You can do that. That grounds me. If that's not for you, that's great. There are so many ways. It's whatever takes you into that place where you're like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, I got this. It's about getting in your body. It's about, yeah, I got this. And then the next step is to say to fear, yeah, I got this. I'm good. I can do this. And it's okay with me if it doesn't go exactly as I planned. And for some of you perfectionists, that might be a harder sell. And my question for you, if it's a harder sell, is when you were in school, when you were learning, anytime you've learned or really grown, was everything perfect? No, nobody's perfect. Nothing's perfect. Perfect is overrated. If I had to be perfect, I would hide in my room. Really, literally, and I used to. So don't do that. Don't tell yourself it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to try something new. It's okay. And it may even be fun. So it's not worth doing if it isn't fun. As my friend Kimberly Crow says that. I really invite you to explore fear, to look at how to get out of it. I do specific coaching on this topic. I coach people all about fear. I have a 12-week coaching program. If you want to contact me, you can reach me at marthadalexander.com, or you can go to my website, which is throughthelookingglass.com. You can call me at 805-422-6865. If you go to my website, you can book a discovery call, which is just a let's talk, let's see. if there is anything I can help you with, or if I have suggestions for you that are something else. Don't stay in fear. If you live by perfectionism and fear and not being enough, because that's a fear-based, not being enough is fear-based, or fear you're going to fail, or any of those things, I can help with that. If you want to break free of that and move past it, I can so help you learn how to do that and give you the tools for a lifetime to break free. There was a period of time in my life that I had so much fear that every day I thought about suicide. Every day, fear whispered, "You don't need to be here. There is an easier way. Let's take the easier way. No one will notice." And that so wasn't true. And I had to fight that inclination every day for years. I had the picture perfect life. Picture perfect. I have a fabulous husband. I have fabulous kids, great friends, and I had a law practice. I mean, really, from the outside looking in, it was fabulous. And yet, fear and some mindsets from my childhood kept me pretty much frozen. I couldn't break free of it. I didn't understand why I was unhappy, why suicide came up. I didn't understand it at all. Until I found Fearless Living and a few other things, and really explored the world of fear. And then I could free myself from those chains of fear. I could free myself from fear, and I could take steps forward. I gained confidence. I gained, my whole purpose in life came from stepping outside that fear. Came from saying, no, I think I want to control my life instead of letting fear control my life. I think I'll do it my way. My mom says that I used to say that as a kid. My mom would say, do something, and I'd look at her and say, I think I do it my way. I lost that somewhere in my childhood, and now I have it back. What would be different in your life if you had the control back? If fear wasn't insidiously holding you back? What could you do? What would you want to do? What would you do? What are the possibilities? Possibilities are so immense when you don't have fear holding you back, keeping you in your comfort zone. Anything is possible. For me, TEDx stage is possible. Being on Oprah is possible. Those are all things that I aspire to. Scared to death of them right now. And I'm still taking steps to do them. Because I can look at fear and say, no, not today. I'm going to try. Maybe I'll fail, and I'll try again. And that's okay. So I hope this has helped you guys. I hope that you can, how to become aware of fear in your own life, how to become aware of where it's holding you back, and that you can take proactive behaviors to step outside that fear, step outside your comfort zone, take a risk. Every day, do something that's outside your comfort zone, whatever it may be. It's not a comparison of mine versus yours. It's not a comparison to anybody else. What is your next step to get to gain confidence and to move past fear? Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys got something useful out of this. My name is Martha Davis Alexander. This is Through the Looking Glass with Martha. My contact is throughthelookingglasswithmartha.com. My calendar is on there. If you want to call me, it's area code 805-422-6865. My email is marthadalexander@gmail.com. And my last words, don't let fear hold you back from doing anything you want in your life. You get to choose. Thanks. Have a great night. Bye.